Despite the success of movies like The Dark Knight and The Avengers, and the critical acclaim given to writers like Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, and Neil Gaiman, the comic book medium has always been stigmatized as children's entertainment. Not without reason, of course. Comic books started as escapism for kids, and throughout the years there have been various cartoons and toys specifically marketed towards kids. People who regularly read comics, and even just casual readers, know that comics aren't just for kids. In fact, a lot of mainstream superheroes aren't for kids at all. And most parents don't realize this. They'll see Batman or Wolverine on a comic cover and think, oh, my son or daughter likes that character, I'll pick up that comic for them. Not knowing that there may be some R-rated stuff, like the Joker carving his own face off, or Wolverine getting ripped in half by the Hulk. Now, the comic book industry has tried really hard to gear its books to an older crowd, sometimes way too hard. But that doesn't mean they stopped making comics for kids. You just need to know where to look. And lucky for you, I can help you with that. If you want to get kids to start reading comic books, 9 times out of 10, the best thing to do is to get them a book featuring a character they already know. If your kid likes superheroes, get them books with superheroes. But again, make sure you're getting one specifically geared towards them. DC has actually been really good at this over the years. They'll often put out a companion series to whatever animated show is currently on television at the time. Currently, all they have on the air is Teen Titans Go, and therefore all they have is a comic series based on Teen Titans Go. But in the past, they've had series like the excellent Batman Adventures, which they've been recently recollecting, so those are really easy to find. Really, any cartoon that your kid actively watches is a good bet. They'll often get writers from the show, or writers who happen to be really big fans of the show, to help write the stories. That would be books like Regular Show, Adventure Time, Powerpuff Girls, My Little Pony if they're into that sort of thing. Hell, a really good comic for kids is actually Scrooge McDuck. There are literally millions of Scrooge McDuck comics out there. And they're all usually really high quality, especially the ones done by legendary artist Carl Barks. But let's say you don't want to get your kid a comic based on a TV show they like, because let's be real here, most licensed properties don't wind up being that good. If you don't mind sticking with DC for a minute, my personal favorite comic for little kids is Tiny Titans by Art Baltazar and Franco. Now, the artwork may make it seem like this book is geared for a much younger crowd, but trust me when I say there are so many references and callbacks in this series that it appeals to both old and young readers alike. It isn't just filled with pop culture references either. Tiny Titans has a lot of references to the entire history of DC Comics. So if you're an older fan like me, you'll appreciate the funny spins they put on stuff you're familiar with. Really, anything by this creative team is worth getting for your kids. Whether it be Tiny Titans, Superman Family Adventures, Itty Bitty Hellboy, or even their independent series, All Yeah Comics. Moving away from superheroes, don't forget about Archie. Archie's been really popular with younger readers for almost 75 years now for a reason. But I'm specifically talking about the classic style Archie. Not so much the current Archie series by Mark Waid. To me, that skews a little bit older. And I certainly don't mean Afterlife with Archie, unless you really hate your child. Speaking of Archie, they also put out the comic books based on Sonic the Hedgehog. I know they're popular, but honestly, I would not recommend them. That series is not very friendly to new readers, and if your kid doesn't understand what's going on, he might get frustrated and quit the book, so I would stay away from that, at least for the beginning. These are all still titles based on pre-existing popular franchises. What about original ideas for kids? Well, of course those exist too. Mouse Guard by David Peterson is often considered one of the best comic series available for young readers. I really like Captain Ultimate by Joey Esposito and Benjamin Bailey. It's classic old school superhero fun with a lot of creative ideas, like a sentient ninja alphabet. Yes, I said that. Now for girls specifically, I would recommend either Smile or its sequel, Sisters by Rena Telgemeier. Both are great. They're autobiographical tales of the author when she was in 6th grade and dealing with all the problems she had at the time. Things like braces, your friends betraying you, boys. Now, if you think your child might be ready for something a little bit heavier, I have to recommend Bone by Jeff Smith. It's one of the most popular and critically acclaimed comics of all time. And when I say it's heavy, I don't necessarily mean that it gets scary or deals with serious issues, although it does do both sometimes. I mean that it's a large, sweeping epic on par with Lord of the Rings. It's got a rich, deep world filled with colorful characters and a real sense of history. Also, it's over 1,000 pages long, so I hope you have a patient kid. Anyway, those are just some of the great comics you can get for the youngster in your life. I know I left some things out, like Peanuts or Scotty Young's Oz series, but I shouldn't have to tell you to get Peanuts and The Wizard of Oz. Let me know your recommendation for kid-friendly comics down below or anywhere on the internet. Remember, we're giving away a copy of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, for the PS4. It's a digital download. So tweet at us using the hashtag WolfDenMGSV with your favorite Metal Gear character and why. It could be from any game. Even Snake's Revenge. We'll accept that. And as always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like, share this video with a friend, share this video with a friend that has kids. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Throw a rock on the internet and you'll hit article after article after article discussing why Superman sucks, why he's not as cool as his contemporaries, why he's not a good hero for the modern world. But how can that be? How can a character that's been around for 77 years suck?
I watch all the James Bonds as they come out. Have no idea what the lore is or anything about James Bond. To me, they're all like independent movies.
Right. Well, typically, yeah. The great thing about James Bond, at least before Daniel Craig came on, was that continuity didn't really matter. You know, you can just pick up a James Bond movie anywhere and just get the general gist of what's going on.
I was always lost.